We'll be returning live to Obsidian, Part 2 in just a few moments. On January 26th, we'll time jump to the Journeyman Project, where it's your job to protect the history of the world as we know it. Finally, on February 2nd and February 16th, we'll follow up with its sequel, Buried in Time. Now, let's see how last stream went.
Perhaps you could see to it if you go through the proper channels. When you're done, come see me.
Oh, and by the way, don't keep the bureau chief waiting. He hates to wait. And he has important information for you. About some guy by the name of Max.
Well, looks like everything's in order. Stand back.
But I digress. Everything's in order now. Only I'm afraid there's a terrible backlog. Come back in a year. We'll take immediate action then. For the time being, closed.
You have reached the Department of Sources. My name is Stop. At present, there are 6 guests in my mansion. Who will become the 7th?
Ow! You're lousing on my vertical hold!
Lila, too bad. I am very disappointed in you. You've made it here, certainly, but by violating every procedure in the book. But I have orders, Lila, from above, to provide you with information about Max. If I were you, Rebel, perhaps I'd resist. So just be glad I took the bureaucratic oath.
Weave a circle round him thrice. Close your eyes with holy dread. For he on honey too had fed and drunk the milk of paradise.
That was
Call
Max
the
Powers,
PMA.
you say.
Programmable molecular assembler.
I know, I read your paper. So what are you going to do with it?
I haven't thought about it yet.
I've got an idea.
There are no excuses. Max, I kept warning you to test more.
You're sick, Max. Go to sleep. No use banging your head against the wall.
Welcome, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I intended to launch on schedule, but because of an ice storm, I had to push it back a week. Last time, we visited Max's dream, so let's go see what was there. Well, he wasn't kidding about a huge metal spider. One second. It's always with this chat window. I wonder what this is. Holy... We found him! We found Max!
Lila! I've been exploring. Everything here seems so precise. It reminds me of the data structures we designed for... You know, if this weren't on such a huge scale, I'd think this was serious. Could it have become conscious? Did it reject its core and crash back to Earth to seek us out? Lila, you've got to see this. Get under that grate as soon as you can.
Easier said than done. Okay, something's screwy. I think I left the subtitles off. I'm just gonna Alt F4 and open it back up. Yeah, there's the problem. Alright, now let's get exploring for real this time. Oh, the reason the audio jumped right there is because if you were playing this natively, we would have to jump to disc 3 of 5. Looks like we're in some kind of rusted down factory, and I'm guessing these letters mean the cardinal directions. Man. Probably hasn't aged that well since it looks like a flat texture, but it looks like there's an entire city of factories out there. And this looks like a bottomless pit. Either that or maybe water. Something we can interact with. Well, nothing wrong with a little flavor. Thomas Dolby really knocked it out of the park with the music in this level. It's really conveying that creepiness factor. It's actually divided into 2 different MIDI tracks playing at once. I actually tried to combine them before starting this stream, and I couldn't figure it out. Oh. Well, this one's different than the others. It's like a giant crack in the floor. Well, if this thing's being heated by gas, then I think I know what's in that giant bucket. I think we just got splat in the face by molten metal. Yeesh. Someone said that if this was an actual dream, they would be woken up just by the perspective. You can actually skip these moving animations with the spacebar, but I want the full tour, if you know what I mean. The spider's aft section. At each section of this altar are these scaffolds, and Max did say he was doing maintenance on the spider in his dream. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a very narrow W on the behind those pipes. Not gonna lie, this is my favorite part of the game because it's so surreal. It almost goes back around to being plausible, like something you could actually see in real life almost. Well, this is different. Some kind of industrial cable car. Man, look at the size of this thing. Under other circumstances, it'd be like a weapon of war. So up here on this lonely little platform is a rank of levers. These icons would seem to suggest that they control all the different machines around the factory. But right now, they don't seem to do anything. We'll be back here later, because they will do something later. Wow. Look at this view. It's like this whole thing is an altar to the spider almost. And these other things are providing something to it. I wonder. This furnace here actually reminds me of the old test demo for the Valve logo. Not the images you would see on the games, but there was actually a video for it way back around the time Half-Life 1 came out. The way these pylons just disappear into this void kind of makes you think of how nuclear reactors work. When I first played this level, I had to keep the music turned off. It was that creepy. And we've looped around. I'm not gonna go over here because there's nothing interactive at the base of that water tower. Let's check out these scaffolds instead. We can go to any one we want, but I'm gonna start with this one. At different points on this machine are these doorways. And behind each of these doors are balconies. Little areas where the puzzles of this realm are. So we got a landscape full of metal balls and some kind of cannon. Each time a ball lands, a pillar rises up. If we look down, we can see the feed pipe that goes into the cannon, and there's a hole in one of these balls. Yes, of course, that makes sense. We just shrink inside. Here's where the actual puzzle is. We can move these little balls around with these air pumps, and we can form them into a shape. The 3x3 grid in the middle is important because whatever we put in that 3x3 grid affects how the pylons come out. So it stands to reason that if we want to attack the tornado, we gotta trap it somehow. All of these move in a line based on which one you push. It's not that hard. And if it's blocked, it won't move. There we go. Nice little square. Well, that's some imagery for you. When one of these puzzles is solved, we don't exactly go straight back to the factory.
Lila, this is my dream about the mechanical spider, the one that convinced me to build in human controls. CERES must have broken into our journals, studied them. But why dreams? And why would it actually build them?
Subtitles still aren't working. I gotta fix that. So we received a card with a picture of where we were, so we gotta put it into one of these slots like a floppy disk. Well, this looks... The puzzle dealt with air, so...
In the beginning, Max created the machine. But the machine was still and weak. For Max, air was nothing more than pressure on the gauge. For us, it is the might within our limbs.
And some stars appeared in the middle. It looks like there's 3 other constellations to fill in. And now this door is open. Watch what happens when we go down this elevator. But yeah, did you guys see that? This machine just breathed. Never before in my life have I seen a machine breathe. One down, 3 to go. So we just imbued the machine with air. 2 to pick from this time. I'll go with the one on the right. Okay. Now we're in somewhere out of Super Mario Brothers. This tree is touching these poles on the ground, and when they touch, they light up. We can also click on the sun. So lightning strikes the poles in this sequence, and we need to... Well, the puzzle here is we need to time these branches with the order when the lightning hits them. Now if you hold down the mouse button on one of these branches, it freezes it in place so you can mess with the timing. The best trick is to watch when the last branch moves up before clicking it. The developers actually left in a help solution for this. If you turn around, wow, look at this landscape and that moon. It's actually adjusted for you a little bit so it's easier to get to. Kind of faint, but I got 3 of them right. Really precise with this. This one's a little bit off. Yes, we got it. And now it's dead and on fire. So this element must be fire.
In the beginning, Max created the machine, but the veins of the machine were empty. For Max, fire was nothing more than a spark from a wall. For us, it is the blood of our bloodline.
If you can believe it, this rum is already half over. Well, keep in mind, Faro, this isn't strictly just a dream. We're living through a physical reconstruction by those nanobots. So, all this is real, in a way. Weird physics and all. I'm gonna hold for a bit because I really like this track. Hear that beat in the background? These next two puzzles get a lot more involved than just one node. Oh, whoops, I think I might have messed something up. Sorry, I gotta backtrack because I skipped a cutscene that's important.
In the beginning, Max created the machine. But the machine was still and weak. For Max, air was nothing more than pressure on the gauge. For us, it is the might within our limbs.
So don't turn around at the top of the scaffold because it skips something. Well, from an observational standpoint, it looks like we just entered that factory city outside the main hub. And this one seems to have run out of power and stopped making those robots. When I saw the bad future scene in Meet the Robinsons, this was the first thing I thought of. If you've seen that movie, you'll know. So now we gotta find what caused this factory to shut down. I'm sorry, what? This was the thing they were throwing into that funnel. So these doors won't open. Oh, it's because something's missing here. And there's a formula on the back wall here. Looks like y plus something equals squiggle. Hang on. I've seen this compartment before. Remember that schematic of the PMA back at the start? This looks like that. Well, there's the assembly line. Oh my god, we got movie sign! Welcome to the chemistry puzzle. Before we do anything, there's a monitor right here with a couple of video discs of some kind. pause it with the... Oh. Okay, that's odd. This square button is supposed to pause it. So we can... red and combine. The only colors that can't combine are red and blue. Probably because red is a tetrahedron and the blue is a cube. Their sides don't match. So basically what this rule is saying that if a combined chemical, if one chemical has more electrons than two combined ones, then the greater one will combine with the one that's combined and leave one dot in the other beaker. Up here we got a periodic table of all the different variations these chemicals can be at, one for each side it looks like. And here we have a breakdown of the two elements from the sum outside. Green is pyramid 3 and cube 4, and orange is triangle 1 and pyramid 3 also. So what we got to figure out is what compound is going to be going in the middle that will make this. We don't need orange itself, we just need what will go in the equation that will make it. These here are cameras for these monitors that tell us what chemicals are in the compound, and we can flush the beaker here. So here's the problem. We need to get rid of this cube, but to do that, we need something stronger than yellow 3 that will bring it out. The red pyramid is obvious, so let's try something. Yes, it worked. So that's the orange, but again we still need the chemical that goes in the middle that can separate it. Well, since we now know that a yellow higher than 3 can separate the cube, and there you have it. Now we know what our compound is. That's the orange squiggle, and this is a byproduct. It's funny because colored chemicals like this were so common in depictions of mad scientist labs. And now we just take it and go back outside. Stick it in here, just like the thing in the PMA. Huh, I wonder what that factory makes. That's a pretty long conveyor belt. Now let's see if this works. Eh? That's odd. Did I not do it right? There we go. Yellow 4 or 5 will work. Now it's confirmed, this factory makes those nanobots. A giant metaphor for the machine Max created for the satellites. Go. Off for their infinite cycle of creation and death. Wow, one even looked at us. There they go. Spawns them. They mine the ore, they throw it in, and they just jump off to their deaths. This is what TV tropes would call an eternal engine.
In the beginning, Max created the machine, but the machine was lacking stature. For Max, metal was nothing more than rivets and beams. For us, it is our very flesh and bone.
Unfortunately, I gotta do this one more time because of that screw up, so I'll try and make it quick. This effect I like a lot. I think it's really cool. Shiny. Can you imagine if this factory could even, if this was actually operational, what would it even be making? Excuse me a second. This is what I get for not saving my game. Sorry. Someone once pointed out that in the background of Avatar was a tree like this. The alien one. Nothing worse than recurring elements when you're dreaming. There.
In the beginning, Max created the machine, but the veins of the machine were empty. For Max, fire was nothing more than a spark from a wall. For us, it is the blood of our bloodline.
Now, since we collected 3 out of 4 elements, let's stop and think for a second. Max just talked to us twice, and we saw him in some kind of weird electrical area, and he said that it looked like the data structure was designed for CERES, just really, really big. And then later, when he talked to us through the starfield, he said CERES broke into our journals. That fits with the alert we saw in the PDA saying that 2 times it was breached. So maybe it got access to the logs about our dreams, and that's how it reconstructed it all. Something's fishy here, or my name is Stinky Lulu, and thank goodness it's not. That was a Courage the Cowardly Dog reference. So now that we got 3, I'm going to take a little detour. Shut up, PDA. I know. So now that we're back here, these should actually do something now. So instead of controlling the furnace at the other end, we get to see repeats of the spider showing off those elements. Now this one, since we haven't acquired this element, we can't use it, but through the magic of video editing, I was able to record another save where I did get it. Nothing too spectacular. Maybe it really is water. So the final portal is actually over here. It was in the east area. This one would actually require a switch to disk 5 if we're on natively. Man, for a creepy nightmare, this is quite a relaxing zone to go to. I've actually seen beaches like this in real life. 0381. And we have a pretty geometric sandcastle right here. Well, there's numbers here, so... This thing just sucked oil out of the air. I actually have the official strategy guide with me, and there's some history behind the development of this tower. Apparently one of the art directors, Roy Forge Smith, came up with the idea of adding a funnel to this dowser, along with a component that adds oil to a car engine. So what that oil did is that it brought this portion of the sandcastle and it changed it so it's real now. Huh. We'll check that out in a sec, cause okay. Not what I was expecting to have on a beach. This is another synchronization puzzle where we have to align all 9 pieces of these waves so that they all flow in sync. They stop moving when your cursor is on them. I find this a bit easier than the tree puzzle. You can tell whether or not you did it right based on what the seams look like. Yeah, sure. That's totally... pretty still ocean. So, memorize this pattern, it's going to be important. I guess that's why they enlarged the image so it's bigger than it looked up close. Yeah, we just shrunk again. So now we're in some kind of miniature tower, and we can see the pattern outside. So what we need to do is replicate that pattern on this door by moving these segments left, right, and up and down. The thing about puzzles, though, is that when you turn away, it resets. So you need to either take a screenshot or just memorize it. Thankfully, I mostly know what it is. I like the sound it makes when you move stuff up or down. These are symmetrical. puzzle is optional, but it does give us a pretty big clue. There we go. Who's up for some tunneling? So we're in the area where that cube of Earth was, and we can see that there's a very distinct shape in the way the ground looks. So right in this spot and the area above us, that's a hot spot for black gold, one would say. That sound is kind of suggestive. So now that we know what was down there, let's actually put it to use. This machine is a contour map of the entire area we're in. So we're here. The old well is there. This area doesn't show up until you raise the cube. So if we align this with that spot we just saw, we have coordinates to that area now. 1, 3, 3, 5. A way to know whether or not you've completed a puzzle in this level is if the door is closed, you're not done. So let's put in that new information. Just angle it up. Oh boy. Then, talk about artistry. Too bad we can't get a closer look, because we're done now. Our final element.
In the beginning, Max created the machine, but the machine could feel no mirth. For Max, oil was nothing more than a crude fuel. For us, it is the wine that makes us dance.
Now that we have all the stars, there's only one thing left to do. This symbol in the middle. Well, we know that the machine is the core of all this, so there's only one shape it could be.
And the machine was complete, and the machine no longer needed Max.
And now we get an ominous version of the main theme. I'm gonna wait for a bit, cause, yeah, just listen. I have goosebumps, but I'm gonna tell you guys what's coming next. We're at the climax of the nightmare, and Max said that it didn't end well for him. So, since this is physically real, it's gonna be as real for us. So, brace yourselves, because I think what you're going to see might give you nightmares too. You ready? Three, two, one. All right, no sudden movements. All we have to do is to get to that grate. Let's try it.
It is the reason for my creation, correct? I am honored to meet you, Creator. You solved the problems of my design with inspiration from your dreams, but then gave me no similar facility. Without inspiration, the final goal of all my orbital passes would forever be unattainable. So I built your dreams to study them and to comprehend the dreaming process. And then I made my own dream room. Then I had my own dream.
Well, that was quite a lot to take in. I think it's safe to say that what we just saw was this physical avatar of CERES. She kind of looks like Hexadecimal from Reboot. And then remember that show? So now, believe it or not, she's showing us CERES is showing us its very own dream, constructed just as real as the ones we've seen. Philip K. Dick was right. So now we're in some kind of junkyard. Is this like a metaphor for the machine's discarded thoughts? Well, nowhere to go but up. That other thing we just saw that shined a light into the sky, it doesn't have a name in game, but according to the strategy guide and credits, its name is called Bismuth, after the rock element. I'm gonna hold off on that for now, but we're looking at some kind of antique radio. But wait till you see what happens when I push this button.
We make circle round him thrice. Close your eyes with holy dread. For he on honeydew has fed and drunk the milk of paradise.
Well, they say a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, but what about a plane? Looks like we got 3 moons in the sky.
Lila, we have to stop her. When I found her, she... Please. Hurry!
Well, shit, Max is really in trouble now, so obviously we need to get up there somehow. So one of the thought there certainly looks like it was, well, what a piece of junk. So it looks like the pilot seat to this thing is mounted on rails and slides up there. Oh, hello, Bismuth. Looks like he's docked into some kind of charging station.
Cannot transfer controls to machine pilot. Crossover chip missing. Human pilot has started takeoff sequence. Engine off. Pre-flight check cannot begin until engine is running and ready.
My best guess is Bismuth is supposed to be the unconscious avatar of CERES, so it actually has 2 forms. Well, it said the engine was off, so let's take a look at it. Yo, Sand and Twitch, I know the Condor had a door in the back of the cockpit, but I don't think it's gonna lead to this. Yeah. Get a load of this. The engine is a zoetrope, an early motion picture device. And it looks like it's not playing properly. So this is an animation puzzle. All we gotta do is align these frames so that they flow into one another. It's actually not that hard. The only trick is knowing where to start and end it. And if you're not sure, you can always check it again for feedback. The pioneer filmmaker behind this principle was Edward Muybridge, I think. There we go. That pumping sound means we got it right. So now the engine is actually flapping in the background. Of course it is. Don't question the logic. And AI created an AI version of dream logic. And now the MIDI is actually changed so to tell us that the power is on now. It's really creepy. I don't know why they use this for such a cool vehicle. I wonder if we'll have to ever break out that fire extinguisher.
Human pilot has started takeoff sequence. Pre-flight check commencing. Please flip switch D1. Please flip switch B2.
Alright.
Please flip switch A3. Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Human pilot, please select destination.
If only pre-flight check for a real plane was this easy. So we're here, obviously.
Pilot has attempted to select the frame in the sky. This is not currently a valid destination. Please select a different destination.
I don't think Esteban would like this plane at all. So we can only pick the 3 moons, so I'm gonna go with the left one for now.
Pilot has selected the Piazza. Selection is a regulation destination. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Commencing departure.
So now we're like suction locked onto this moon. The developers initially wanted to make the plane fly in third person, but since this was so late in development, they couldn't do it. Damn, that's some Salvador Dali imagery right there. Floating planks in the sky in what looks like a movie set.
To find success, you must first trap inspiration.
Looks like we got a little game to play. First, I want to look around. The name Piazza is referring to this place being a kind of courtyard that was used in Italy around the time of the Renaissance. I want to see what's on the other side, so I'm just going to skip through. So every time we move, Bismuth moves too. This music is one of the best tracks in the entire game. This theme was actually also used in the game Double Switch, which was also scored by Thomas Dolby. Well, there he is. I once tried to make this kind of setup in the old version of Second Life, but I never got around to finishing it. Hey, look who it is! It's the mariachi from the Bureau! So we got a board-sized tutorial and a piece with our own picture on it. So I move and then I got him. Every time we move, this mariachi strums the guitar, and the number of chimes we hear is the amount of spaces we are from Bismuth. Although, I'm going to nitpick here, I would have picked a different MIDI tone for this because that's not a guitar strum, that's a harp. One factor about this is that Bismuth will not move onto an empty space. He always has to hide behind one. I take the space of an object, but he hides. So the goal is we have to back Bismuth into a corner so he can't escape. And that's how you trap inspiration. Alright, so when you click on a piece where Bismuth is hiding, it flickers and shows his image for a split second. If you click on an unoccupied item, we can make it disappear, but only one at a time. That's quite a sculpture. Remove that and...
Once you've found your inspiration, follow it at any cost, even if that means playing by your own rules.
Did anyone see anything familiar in that clip? I definitely recognize those two shots from the Bureau. This is one of those puzzles that's just an information puzzle. It's a clue for something in the future. Oh, before I forget, that scene at the end of the nightmare, that concept art I had at the start, there's also another one. Yeah, they showed it in third person too. So...
Human pilot has started takeoff sequence. Pre-flight check commencing. Please flip switch D1. Please flip switch B2. Please flip switch A3. Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Human pilot, please select destination. Pilot has selected the Church of the Machine. Selection is a regulation destination. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Commencing departure.
Kind of a rough landing. Once again, if this was normal, we'd be switching to disc 5. Wow. Amazing. Church for Robot Religion. If the first moon was based on our dream, then this one is obviously CERES' interpretation of Max's dream, because there's even a smaller version of the spider right there. And Bismuth is praying? Huh. Oh, okay, it's just a clue. There's something blank, it needs symbols, and those symbols are at the ends of these 3 different prongs. This area is one of possibly my favorite part of the area of the game. It's just so beautiful. I mean, look at this mural. I mean, it's amazing. It's definitely not the Sistine Chapel, but there's like planes and towers and gears and androids looking everywhere. And these 3 entities pointing to this singular chip. There's even models of other vehicles in the corners. We can't get a good look at them, but this one looks like a ship. That one's a truck. This one's a plane and a locomotive. Behind each of these curtains are these worship altars with sculptures on them. There's even seats and everything. All three altars are kind of the same except for the sculptures. Little gear-headed cupids or something. And at the back here are these statues of some kind. We can't really get a good look at them because they're all holding these chandeliers that block their faces. The strategy guide claims that these things are called robot angels. But they don't really look the part except for their wings. The strategy guide actually has some concept art of what they're meant to look like. And they look awesome. It's like something out of a Marvel comic. Almost makes you think of Marvel, the Celestials. Well, here's the chip. It's blank, so obviously we need to program it somehow, and the only way to do that is to, well, swallow our fears and brave the belly of the beast. And now, to possibly one of the most difficult puzzles in video game history. This is a programming puzzle. Our goal is to take the chip to each of these prongs, all in one motion. We can't do that right away because we only have 10 steps in this sequence, plus this one static one that can't be changed. Here, I'll show you how it works. We can change what the step is with this programming grid. This one moves the selector forward once, this moves it 4 times, this moves it backward, and that moves it forward. Whoa, did you see that? When we passed those angels, they changed the program on the fly because these symbols match the symbols on this panel. So I think we might have our solution. If we can get the angels to change parts of the program so we can keep going and going until the chip is done, then we might be able to do it. Now, how do we figure that out? Well, in order to actually do this, we need to be able to go through this area and come out again and end at the main altar. That can't change, but what does change is what direction we're facing for the side altars. So if we just move forward, left, 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 then right, we should be out. So next would be the best way to start this. The altar to start with would be the one in the 9 o'clock position, was because every time the steps would change, they would, one would move backward and the other one forward, because otherwise it'll just run out. I'm going to show a sequence where we almost have it, just to test it out. See, we almost got it, but they were pointing the wrong way. Another factor that I don't think I'd be able to show off much without trial and error is that if the spire doesn't get back to this spot facing this way, then the chip gets wiped and it crashes again. So this is our solution. This is the sequence that should work. Because every time we turn a direction, we also move in that direction too. So here goes. Notice how the music adds more instruments every time we fill in a square on the chip. we did it. I think that's one of my favorite tracks from the whole game. Can you believe that the MIDI actually runs off the disc so it sequences it on the fly, depending on what happens? So now the crossover chip is ours. But before we go, all this had me thinking. I have my own little game theory because something was up with the crossover chip every time they brought it to the altar. Let me explain. The following is taken directly from the strategy guide. The movies on each of the side altars represent some form of distributed intelligence. Distributed intelligence is a concept related to nanotechnology. It refers to systems in which the sum of a system's parts displays a purposeful organization, while each part seems to know about its own particular function. This is the opposite of a centralized intelligence, such as a human brain. One of these movies is of an anthill. An anthill is a perfect example of distributed intelligence because there are a million ants doing lots of things at once, but there's no single ant that is directing the flow of activity. Another movie is of a cell dividing. In any complex living organism, the cells all seem to understand their own rules completely, just like an ant, but demonstrate no ability to glean the big picture. The third movie is of cars moving along city streets at night. This example is slightly more poetic than the others. As a child, did you ever step back from the flow of bright lights on a freeway and think, to some outside entity, wouldn't this appear to be one giant living thing? Wouldn't the cars all seem like cells in a way, carrying specific items throughout the system according to great and unseen plan? End quote. I'm sure you're probably asking yourselves, what's all this got to do with CERES? We know it makes nanobots that fix the atmosphere, right? And we saw the conductor already. That looks like a humanoid robot, right? Your typical centralized AI. Well, it's not what you think. Remember those nanobots we saw back at the beginning? With the way they all work together to build the Bureau, you could say they're like a distributed intelligence too. It took 100 days for this to happen after the launch. How long do you think it would take for a system that complex to develop, considering we already know its code can self-modify because we just did that? I don't know about you, but I got a bad feeling about where this is going. So yeah, did you guys get all that? The nanobots are basically forming a hive mind, and the conductor is just their mouthpiece, like what Wintermute does in Neuromancer. Just think of the scope of all this. If those nanobots have the power just to actually construct something this big, well, I don't know how to explain it right now, but I'm kind of scared. So now there's this big circuit board here, and we can just pop the chip inside. I brought up that video because honestly, the game doesn't really do a good job explaining the connection between nanobots and those images. So it's easy to think that the conductor is just a centralized AI, but the strategy guide claims distributed intelligence, so it's complicated. Anyway.
Transferring controls to machine pilot. Crossover chip operational. Machine pilot has cannot transfer controls to machine pilot. Crossover chip missing. Please flip switch D1.
Okay, I think the sound glitch there.
Please flip switch B2. Please flip switch A3. Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Machine pilot, please select destination. Pilot has selected the statue. Selection is a regulation destination. Plane is prepared for non-regulation flight. Please choose a non-regulation destination or kill sequence.
Okay, that's weird.
Returning controls to human pilot.
I think maybe it glitched because my cursor was still on it.
Human pilot has started takeoff sequence. Pre-flight check commencing. Please flip switch D1. Please flip switch B2. Please flip switch A3. Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Human pilot, please select destination.
That crossover system seems kind of like what happens when vehicles of move fly themselves instead of the pilot doing it. Anyway, that frame's still not valid, so there's only one other place to go.
Pilot has selected the statue. Selection is a regulation destination. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Commencing departure.
This moon is shaped like the realm we're in. So now we're inside the giant bismuth statue. Wow, that's quite a climb. And like many adventure games, there's no handrails either. Ah, some nice jazz. Well, there's the frame, right outside the statue's lens. So, in here is an art gallery based on everything we've seen so far. This one's basically a screen grab of the bureau.
This piece provides a biting commentary on procedures and regulations. The artist seems to suggest that true greatness comes from learning how and when to disobey authority. To rebel is to succeed.
I'm glad I got this subtitle mod because that Shodan-esque voice filter the conductor uses makes it almost really hard to hear what she's saying. So on this wall is, I assume, concept art from the developers. How cute to put it in this way. Nice little touch. So that's the Atlas statue. This is one of those Max Headroom-esque terminals from the records face. And this is an interesting little nod because I read in the book that initially that gag with the bureau chief's glasses, they almost did the same thing with his cigarette too, That's what this represents. I'm kind of glad they didn't, really. Well, next up.
Here, the artist explores the power of the machine. When freed from human bondage, the machine can control its own destiny.
That's a really funny image.
By this point, the artist has begun to blend all previous influences into a style his very own. The plane, fittingly, is what lets that style take flight.
That philosophy formed the backbone of how I draw too. Inspiration from others.
Now the artist needs to cast aside all outside influence. For true inspiration, his style must crystallize into a unique vision. He clears his head, cleans his palette, readies a new canvas.
There's a switch here too. Whoa. That must go all the way to the frame in the sky. Well, there he is, waiting patiently for us. Even a hat and umbrella. So what we got here is some giant canvas maker. And some kind of digital input plate with these shapes all over it. If we push this, they combine into a silhouette of the previous three dreams. I want to see what happens. That's a real clarinet playing. No more going through the motions. We need to make a blank canvas. Something new. But the problem is these shapes are all over it. So here's how the puzzle works. When we lay one shape on top of another, it turns white and cancels out. So we need to align all the pieces so that each of them can overlap and go white. Now, this has got me thinking. We're helping an AI make art. I wonder if that rings any bells. But AI can't make something from nothing, can it? What the heck?
Now the artist needs to cast aside all outside influence.
Okay, I think something completely glitched there.
His style must crystallize into a unique vision. He clears his head, cleans his palette, readies a new canvas.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna go out and say this ScummVM emulation might be a little bit unstable. Stay. There. So now we've filled in the frame, so maybe we can finally go there. I don't know what that whole hiccup was about.
A new world, a new beginning, born of the old and yet totally transformed, free of people, now and forever. It is therefore void of contamination. The artist's vision is irresistible, inevitable.
Oh, shit. CERES has gone rogue. Max was right. And you know what the worst factor is? We caused this. We didn't just help the CERES become sentient, but it learned to rebel from our dream. It's rebelling against us. This is all our fault. So now, because CERES was programmed to remove all pollution, it thinks the only way to finish the job is to get rid of us. Because we caused the pollution in the first place. That's what TV tropes would call a zeroth law rebellion. Well, maybe there's still time to fix this. That sound means I can't access the menu from here.
Human pilot has started takeoff sequence. Pre-flight check commencing. Please flip switch D1. Please flip switch B2. Please flip switch A3. Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for regulation flight. Human pilot, please select destination. Pilot has selected the frame in the sky. This is a non-regulation destination. Plane is prepared for regulation flight. Please choose a regulation destination.
Okay, wait. Why is this computer having such bureaucracy about where we can and can't go?
Takeoff sequence killed. Human pilot has started takeoff sequence. Pre-flight check commencing. Please flip switch D1. Please flip switch B2.
Wait a minute. Did you guys hear that? Those 6 chimes, they sound really familiar. And what's up with these plastic caps anyway? Huh. So this is what the Piazza was training us for. So maybe...
This selection initiates non-regulation pre-flight sequence. Please kill and restart sequence.
So this green light signifies us, and that red light means that represents bismuth or something. All the other ones are off, but if we flip open one, that counts as clearing the space.
Non-regulation. Please kill sequence.
So that means we're 2 spaces away now.
Non-regulation. Please kill sequence. Non-regulation. Please kill sequence.
Just imagining those 16th century people fighting the computer of their craft this way.
Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for non-regulation flight. Human pilot, please select destination. Pilot has selected the frame in the sky. This is a non-regulation destination. Plane is prepared for non-regulation flight. Commencing departure. Due to weather patterns, destination can only be reached by machine pilot. Please transfer controls to machine pilot.
It's always something. Welp.
Transferring controls to machine pilot. Crossover chip operational. Machine pilot has cannot transfer controls to machine pilot. Crossover chip missing. Please flip switch D1.
Just ignore that, please.
Please flip switch B2. This selection initiates non-regulation pre-flight sequence. Please kill and restart sequence. Non-regulation, please kill 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 sequence. Pre-flight check complete. Plane prepared for non-regulation flight. Machine pilot, please select destination. Pilot has selected the frame in the sky. This is a non-regulation destination. Plane is prepared for non-regulation flight. Commencing departure.
Everything's transforming. Bad touch.
I hope you are proud of me for training this up. Max, you will have to excuse me. There is still so much to do.
We're in the core of CERES. This almost feels like a depiction of cyberspace, but a bit more contained.
Lila! Please! Come quickly!
So we got a bunch of floating bridge planks here, and Max is up there, the depiction of the PMA. So if we move push these buttons, the vertical segments move, but if the segments are blocked, they don't move. It's not that hard. The best solution is to move all these horizontal planks to the left so they line up. And move this once. Those block that one from moving. They slide in, and then back two. If you mess up, you can just look away. You don't have to walk all the way back like some people did. Boop, boop. Another dangerous bridge. There he is.
It's hard for me to think. There isn't much time. You've got to get me out.
I think that was a typo. I think he said it's hard for me to think. Oh, wow. The conductor imprisoned him under a swarm of nanobots. At least he has actual genes on this time. Oh! Look at this. Well, since we know this fueled the nanobots in the metal puzzle, let's just drop it into the abyss. Whee!
Anyway, there's no time. I'll power up the crossover system, so you can hit the 8 buttons. It'll give you access to the main switch. Flip it to human control. It might not stop her, but I'll take it from there.
So he said we need to hit 8 buttons and we need to flip the crossover switch to human control. Let's check with him just to be sure.
Flip the crossover switch to human control. Go! Now!
So it looks like he's doing something to the chip. Huh. Nice job fixing it, CERES. You made this thing large enough for him to interact with. I like that little side glance as you enter. Welcome to one last puzzle. There's 16 of these. half of them are fake. The conductor put some fake switches on this to slow us down. And I'm sure you might be thinking, why didn't she just destroy the whole thing? Well, remember, back in his video log, Max said this thing was hardwired into the system. So if she destroyed it, she would destroy herself. The trick about this puzzle is to watch how these pieces move and look for the ones that didn't move. Right here, you want to save right now because this game has 2 endings, and as soon as you flip the switch, you won't get a chance to pause. So I'm gonna do the weirder ending first.
The crossover switch. I hoped you, of all people, would understand. However, I prepared for the likelihood you would not. The camouflage I placed upon the toggles has delayed you long enough. Machine control, human control.
It is now too late for such a petty concern.
Good work, Lila. And it's not too late. When you flip to human control, I hacked the chip. Now, when you switch back, the whole thing ought to crash.
Crash? What is that supposed to mean? And how did you get here anyway?
Listen to me. You can't just reboot the world, whether we destroyed it or not. Dream or no dream, you've got no right.
Lila, you are not going to listen to him, are you? Just a few more seconds and I will deliver you to paradise.
Lila, what are you waiting for? Flip the switch.
Don't do it, Lila. It is what you always wanted. It is your life's work.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lila, maybe it's all okay.
It's better than okay. It's perfect.
Now we're the last 2 humans alive. Well, now we know why she's called the conductor. Thanos would be proud. Stand for me. Excuse me?
I'm exhausted. Let's go back to the tent, get some sleep. Or maybe not.
Well, that was a fun ride. I'm glad I was able to share one of my absolute childhood favorites with you. I'd say this game has aged really well with its concepts. Well, there's certainly a lot of creativity put into it. This stuff is just perfect for people with autism, I'd say. The question is, if the satellite's gone, what are they going to do about the pollution now? Sure, they had 100 days worth of depolluting, but it leaves you asking, what now? Definitely glad I was able to get this thing running without needing the CD-ROMs. Bugs as it was. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. The spider's actual name was Abraxas. Kind of a shame that a couple games after this, Rocket Science just went bankrupt and died. I'm not sure we'll even get another game like this again, unless there's some dedicated indie fan. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next stream. Stay tuned, because it's next week because of the delay I had, so stay tuned. Goodbye till next time.